Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you while I'm there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you while I'm dead. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I'm Gaarawarr. We're like, I don't even know how many shows we're in. I hope that's obvious by now. I hope that's obvious by now. I think I say it just to remind myself at times. Joining me today in the production booth, helping me out with chat and grabbing all of your questions is Sean. Sean is here. For people who are like, you were a little bit late hitting that start button. What's going on? I was busy reporting a bug to Sean. Look, some things are priorities. Bug reporting is a priority, folks. But hey, if you have a question for me about today's topic or just about the game, like how champions work or how some of the systems work, those are the things I can answer for you. Throw it in the chat with question : first, like it says in the box, way down there, the white one. It's in a white box so that you were like, oh, that's important information. Yeah, do that, and then Sean will grab that question. And it'll end up in a document I have over here, because the way this show works is I don't answer the questions live per se. I talk on the topic first for the first part of the show, and then I answer the questions in the second part. Speaking of the topic, today's topic for Halloween, this is effectively our Halloween adjacent episode, is Black Dice Society. So we're going to cover the state of the Black Dice Society here in the year of Moradin 2024. That's what we're doing today. So yeah, probably gonna dive right in. Except I wanted to shout out. Look, there's you can't really see the button. There's a change log, folks, and there's been some changes to the game. There's some kind of good quality of life changes I just want to shout out real quick, in case people missed them. Gamepad-based UI no longer prevents familiars from clicking when a dialogue is showing. This hopefully resolves the issue with the with boxes popping up for people who are leaving their consoles running or who are using the console UI on PC, and it kills your gem farms. I hope that solves that problem. That would be huge for that portion of the community. They've moved the event token count to the tooltip when you hover over some of the buttons. I don't know which button. I guess maybe that's not working just yet. Maybe I shouldn't have called that out. Shop button and event button. Well, it's not. Yeah, that's not working. Submit a bug report. This is what I'm talking about. Bug reports, folks. What was the other big one? There's now a random click skin setting for those of us who have a bunch over here under the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So that will give me a random click skin whenever I load in the game. What was the other big one I wanted to talk about? Oh, they added some filters to the champion search, and we're actually going to use that right now. So let's go ahead and pull in the Black Dice Society of this group. I'm going to come over here. So this was me filtering. Look, there's now a show recallable, so you can tell if someone need to be recalled from another formation. There's also a has pigment button, so if you just want pigmented champions, you can shoot your shot there now. So I'm going to go up to affiliation. I'm going to go Black Dice Society. I'm going to make sure there's everybody here. Yeah. And then we're going to build our bench. This is the thing. If you drag them down, folks, you can just build your bench and throw the Black Dice Society into your group. Like that. You make it real easy, folks. That should be everybody. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's everybody. Just wanted to make sure it worked right. That would have been rough. Okay, we're just going to pile everybody up because they're all friends, right? They're just going to load right in. That's the quickest way if you're trying to get an affiliation. If you want to build an affiliation-centric party, just do it like that. Why not? Why not? Why not? All right, let's dive in. We're going to do this in bench seat order. We're gonna try to cover these fairly quickly, especially Voronika. We're probably gonna shoot through because I just covered Voronika. She just got a rework, folks. She just got a rework with the last event. She is in a friendlier place when it comes to her puppet and managing her puppet. Yeah. And they've kind of shifted her focus. She is now a long run champion. She is now a long run, meaning like she rewards you the longer you go. And I just remembered, now that we're talking about long runs, this is the big one that the other big one I was going to say. Look, folks, there's a complete and restart button. For those of you who are like, what does that do? It completes your run. I'm assuming you can skip. I guess it would have done it without me clicking if I hadn't clicked anything. It's supposed to, and then it just loads you back in. We'll do it again, and I'm not going to touch anything. So this is the quality of life feature for people who have issues, like if maybe you're trying to dungeon master fish. No, you do have to click it. Okay. I was hoping it just automatically did it. I'll not gonna lie. But hey, at least it jumps you right back in. You don't have to go to the map, right? That's the idea. So say you start an adventure and you want to do the whole fish for a specific champion via the dungeon master. You can use that. Also, there was another one. Where is it? Where is it? I know I'm supposed to be covering the Black Dice Society, but look, sometimes show all bench seats. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, folks. These were pretty big. So let me do this again. Now you're like Gaarawarr, but I can see all the bench seats. But that's because I looted some gold, right? Usually your ability to see the bench seats is based off how much money you've made. Well, look, now it isn't anymore. Now you can just see all 12 bench seats before you make any money. That is huge, folks. People have been asking that for like 7 years. For 7 years. I know, I've been here the whole time. So, pretty big quality of life changes, and I hope you enjoy them. There's more. Check that list. There's more, but those were all big. Those were all big. All right, Voronika. Yes, that is how you pronounce her name. It is not Voronika. It is not Voronika. Voronika, on and off again, dated Archie. That's different character. Voronika. Female Ladrin Druid, Chaotic Evil, support. Her passive is she's dead. You didn't get that from the ghostly silhouette. Produce Flame, magical base attack, creates a flame in her hand, which she fires at a random enemy. And here's the thing, she gets better. Once she becomes a Dark Lord, she's a Dark Lord of one of the realms like Barovia. Like there's a bunch of those. I can't remember the name of those right now. It's Saturday and I'm on stream. But she's a Dark Lord like Strahd. So when she gets that power, her abilities get better, and we'll talk about that when it happens. Puppet Master is the first main ability. Voronika claims the Bud Setting Champion as her puppet. So whoever is doing the most damage in your party, as dictated by Bud, which is down here, you just hover over the little thing over here, and it tells you, hey, I'm the Bud Setter. I'm the Bud Setter now. The damage of her chosen puppet is increased by an amount that varies. Voronika only changes her puppet if a different champion is the Bud Setting Champion for more than 30 seconds. So to switch to somebody else, it needs to that other champion needs to consistently do more damage. Okay, so keep that in mind. Voronika's puppet gains the Black Dice Society affiliation. So while they are a full affiliation at 7 members, you can actually get that number up to 8. And this has benefits. We'll talk about that. All right. Calculating guidance. Voronika increases the damage of all champions in one column in front of her. So that means this is your formation placement cue. You want to place her right behind your DPS. The column behind. Voronika's key allies. This is a functional thing for her. Key allies are members of the Black Dice Society. Hence why, if the puppet is someone that isn't Black Dice Society, they become Black Dice Society and become one of her key allies. The effect of this ability is increased by 100% for each key ally in the formation. So if you're running a full formation and you make your DPS someone that isn't, I don't know why you do that. Let's say you're just running a mixed formation. Your Black Dice Society is at least going to +1 along with Voronika to boost that ability. It does stack additively to start, but once she completes her search for the crown, it changes to multiplicatively. Now at this point you're like, well, what's the search for the crown? Well, fortunately it's the next ability. She searches for the crown of the Raven Queen, and to find it, she has to complete 3 goals. When she finds the crown, she transforms into her Dark Lord form, still counts as dead, unlocks her ultimate attack, so that's the only way you'll get her ultimate, and improves her base attack. It actually sets enemies on fire with Bud base damage when it hits someone. So it's great. Let's go over here to get the information on the search for the crown. So the first thing you have to do is you have to upgrade her to level 750. You have to use 50 ultimate attacks with other champions. Okay, not with her, with other champions. And then the final one is locked because it's dependent upon what you choose here. You can embrace evil, you can hunt the favored, or you can weaken the fools. So embrace evil means you need to kill, key allies need to kill 2,500 enemies. Okay. Now with embrace evil, along with Black Dice Society, key allies are also anyone with the evil alignment. So you're changing, you're adding people to the key allies here. So in a way, this is a choice based on how you're going to build your formation, right? Because you want to get the largest number of key allies possible. And that's between Black Dice Society members and whatever you're choosing here. Now, Hunt the Favored is only 500 enemies, and key allies also now include champions who have favored foes. Weaken the Fools is 1,750 debuffs. So you have to apply that many debuffs. You don't have to kill anyone. And the key allies now also include people with the champions with the debuff roll, right? I'm just gonna go evil. It doesn't really matter for us in this scenario because we're just talking about the Black Dice Society. All right, so this then becomes one of the goals for Search for the Crown. The allies defeat 2,500 enemies, and as you can see, that number is just going to start ticking up as we're killing things. Now, I want to be clear. I am killing things with familiars. Okay? But the game recognizes that if these people had gotten their attack off, it would have killed them and gives me credit. It does track that. All right. Speedrun. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think the healthiest way for you to play this game is to ignore this ability. Truly. It is a very small bonus. What happens is it buffs Puppet Master by a EO5 at best, but most likely lower, because it decreases multiplicatively 5 minutes after the adventure starts, whether you had Voronika in at the start of the adventure or not, and decreases another 10% every minute after that. It only stops decreasing when you search for the crown. This creates this very frantic, I have to build a formation just to do the speed run at the start and get the crown as quickly as possible and then switch to my actual formation kind of scenario if you're trying to do this. And I honestly believe that if you just ignore that, your life is vastly better when you're playing this game. Because it's a very small value comparative to the potential value and other abilities in her kit. If you want to do it, go for it. I will never do speedrun. I did it once and I said I'm not doing that again. All right, ultimate power. This is where her power lies. It's in the name. This is the biggest chunk of her power, but only if you want it. Only if you want it. This is what I was saying earlier. She is a long run champion. So the longer you stay in an adventure, potentially based off what's going on here, the more damage you get up to a point. Right? So it's like Umberto. If you're familiar with Umberto's mechanic where he does investigations and they take real world time. Well, not real. They take in-game time and you can affect it with speed potions. Similar situation here. Voronika increases the effect of calculating guidance by 0.1%. Small value. For each use of an ultimate while she is in the formation. This should be any ultimate. I've heard reports that her ultimate doesn't trigger it, but if you run into that, submit a ticket. Because it does says an ultimate. This means you want to spam ultimates, right, while you're running with her. This caps at 1 EO5 stacks. That's 100,000, folks. Now, 100,000 is a very large number when we're talking about ultimates firing off. Yes, you can have 10 champions in your formation, but most champions have ultimates whose cooldowns are like a minute or longer, it feels like. Very few have very short ultimates. These stacks will persist until the end of an adventure. So this is an in-run event. This is an in-run ramping thing. So the longer you're running this, the better. Here's the thing. I don't know if anybody's found a faster way. What I went with as the way if I were going to just grind her stacks is I would use Gaarawarr. And I would put her in her Speedy Sacrifice spec because this decreases her ultimate cooldown to 10 seconds. Wait, was it already at 10 seconds? Did they change something? All right, 10-second cooldown. So this gives me an ultimate that cools down in 10 seconds. Look, Brunor is 15 seconds, and he's got the other, like the shortest other ultimate. But here's the thing: you only need Gaarawarr and one other person. Who is that other person? Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master comes in and his ultimate, which we'll get to in a moment. There we go. His ultimate instantly resets another ultimate on cooldown and takes on its reset timer. So, boom, boom. We get a fire off of an ultimate here. I swear. There it goes. And then instant reset and then instantly used again. So effectively, we do the math here. That means you get 2 ultimates every 10 seconds or 1 every 5 seconds. This is 12 ultimates in a minute. That's the quickest we can go. Yeah. Now, obviously, you may not have these champions. This is going to take you, I think, like 3 days, something like something like 3 days, 2 or 3 days of in-game time. Now you can speed that up obviously and shorten it up with speed potions, but even if you're running at like 10x speed, you'd have to have enough potions to go overnight at 10x. So one of these and like 8 of these, and if you left it overnight and came back in the morning, you'd most likely be capped with this scenario. Any other scenario is going to take even longer. Okay. Any other scenario is going to take even longer. So just understand that's kind of what you're talking about when you're trying to cap that ability out. Now, what's the reward? If you get it all the way up to max 100,000 stacks, that's your buff is in like E43. It's around E42, E43 buff. Significant. Which is why I said this can be a solid source of power. If you're around 75,000, it's in the it's like E32, E33, the early E30s, 50,000, early E20s. You see where this is going. 25,000 around the E12 range. So you can see like it does progress pretty understandably when you're talking about orders of magnitude. So yeah. You can use that to determine, hey, do I need, if I could finish this if I stack it up, like if you're close to finishing a variant, like a few levels away, or like I need some more, you can stack it up for a while and get that damage. That's kind of what this type of champion build exists for. But you don't necessarily want to do that all the time, right? All right, second spec choices: battle magic, powerful focus, strike first, strike hard. Battle magic. This is this functionality for the puppet, basically. Battle magic makes the puppet cast an additional explosive magic missile at a random target after each of their base attacks. It deals 1,000% of their normal damage to all enemies in a small area. So this adds a second attack to someone. So it can turn a single target DPS into a multi-DPS. It also adds wave clear in the form of an AoE. This is great. This is also a way to kill armored enemies faster. Right? Another attack to take off a chunk. Okay, great. I love this one. This is my favorite. Powerful focus. The puppet has all of their incoming positional damage effects increased by 75%. And their basic attack now has a knockback. Now, so this is if you're just going straight up damage. You just want damage and you're using a formation with a lot of positional formation abilities. So you're building out with champions who have a lot of PFAs. This is going to give you even more damage. So this is functionality. This is damage. Over here, this makes the puppet attack 1 second faster and boosts their damage by 150% for each champion adjacent to them, stacking multiplicatively. This is very layout dependent of the formation. Ideally, a best case scenario, you have 6 people around whoever your puppet is to get the most boost. And this would be, potentially if you're not doing positional formation abilities, you've got to figure out which one of these is better. Okay. All right. Yes, Voronika is an alumnus of Cobra Kai. Strike first, strike hard. All right, so that's it. Item-wise, lots. I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing here that is like a mathematically overpowered ability, so there isn't like a specific item that you really want to boost. Yeah, that's just it. Feats, because we got to rush through this because we got a bunch of these to go through, and we're already halfway through this episode. All the stuff you want. The big one to call out is this changes calculating guidance to target the next 2 columns. So instead of putting her right behind a champion, you can put her 2 columns behind. That's a big deal, especially if you're doing soakable PFAs like you are with Valentine in the formation. We'll get to Valentine in a bit. And this one changes or adds elves to key allies. So you can just straight up, without having to make changes, you can just, hey, I've got some elves in my party that aren't affected by like my spec choice. I can add this feat and count them. Okay. We have intelligence to qualify her for Strahd on her own. Anything else? There's some stuff that affects speedrun in it, but again, I think it's healthier for you to probably just ignore that kind of stuff. All right, let's talk about Nahara. Nahara is the technically is the DPS of this group. There is another DPS option. There's at least one other. There is another DPS option, but really, if you're doing a Black Die Society group, Nahara is your DPS, because that's all she offers. She is a DPS and speed champion, and so she needs to be your DPS if you're doing this. Female, Reborn Aasimar, Warlock Bard, Chaotic Neutral. Base attack is Witch Bolt. She attacks a random enemy, and every enemy that she's already hit with a Bolt of Energy is a magic attack. This means if you're not able to kill things immediately, she attacks a random enemy. Then she attacks a different enemy, and also that one. And then she attacks a different enemy, and also that one and that one, until they die, right? If you're not able to kill anything at all, and 100 enemies on the screen, she attacks all 100 of it. You know, she can build up to the point where she's attacking all 100 of them. Every attack. It's wild. It's wild. Rare to get to that situation, but it's wild when it happens. Passive ability, Beloved by Strahd. She is eligible for all Strahd patron stuff. All of it. It doesn't matter like that she doesn't have the 13-inch. She just does Strahd stuff. Who am I? Nahara recovers a bit of her lost memory as she adventures. If she's in the formation when you complete an area for the first time, and that's just the first time on a run. I can't just sit here and go doop-de-doop. And then I'm going to go, and then we're going to complete this area, and then I'm going to go doop-de-doop, and then we're going to complete that area. That's not how this works, okay? It's just as you're progressing through. That's what they mean when they say first time. She gets a small percentage damage bonus, and it stacks additively. But these bonuses persist through resets, so this is a permanent stacking ability. It's basically, hey, use me to complete lots of content. Okay. You can stack this up by putting her in like gem farming formations and let her run. Yeah. Okay. Now, as with any permanently stacking ability, the desire to stack it may vary from person to person. Not all of them, feel super great. Put it that way. To amuse or avenge, when Nahara attacks and defeats at least one enemy, she gains a levity stack, which caps at 30. When she attacks and doesn't defeat an enemy, she loses one. She gets a damage bonus for each one she has below 30, so when she's not able to kill instantly, she buffs herself. But if she has more than 15, so if she's killing things quickly, then at the start of each area, she reduces the area requirements by 2% per stack. So up to 30%. Okay, so this is the speed effect. But when it starts to wear off because you can't kill, it turns into a damage boost. I love this combo. I love that combo. It's like the speed effect, the ability doesn't just stop functioning. It just transitions into something else, and that's great. Strong Society. Nahara gets a 400% damage bonus for each other Black Die Society affiliation member in the formation, and it stacks multiplicatively. So running a full Black Die Society formation is really the key to giving her, her most potential from her own abilities. Because of this. Because this is a 5x damage boost for 7 members. And remember, if Voronika's puppet should be Nahara. Never mind. So, 5x per 7 members. That's decent. What is it? Hold on. I can't do that in my head. 5, 7. 78,000 X damage. And change. Alright, spec choices. Brave Experience, Barovian Bond, or Skilled Liar. See what they did there? Grave Experience, the Who Am I counter increments 3 times for every area cleared. So if what you're doing is trying to get runs to stack up her permanent stacks, you would choose this. Okay. I'm going to hop all the way over here. Skilled Liar, the area reduction to amuse or avenge is increased by 50%. So you can actually get, instead of 2% going per stack at 30%, she can boost that by 50%. Which should take it to 45%. We'll go take a look because we're gonna choose this one. Yeah. So this is for speed runs, and I know that's kind of counterintuitive because don't you want her in this to stack up during speed runs? It's weirdness. Okay. Barovian Bond. This is her Strahd stuff. Strong Society gets a 400% increase, so that's the thing that buffs her based off having a lot of Black Dice Society members in the party. And Black Dice Society members can be used if Strahd is currently the patron. So when you're doing patron Strahd stuff, she can bring this whole group in. So you have a guaranteed group for all Strahd variants if you have the Black Dice Society. Okay. And we're not in that, so we're not doing that. Now, obviously, that would also be good to do in this scenario because it would just give her a huge buff. Normally, you would do that. I wanted to do the boost over here. So now, yeah, 3% for each levity stack, so that would get us to 45% reduction when we change an area. So we can see that in play now. Is that it? That's it. Okay, ultimate attack. Form of Dread. Nahara takes off into the air and channels the power of her patron Azalin Rex for 15 seconds. So it's a 15-second boost. Her damage is increased by 1,000% while in this form, and any enemy she hits has a 50% chance of being stunned for 2 seconds. So this is her I'm doing more damage and crowd controlling button. Okay, this is what she looks like while she's doing more damage. Also, she has this little bar here, you see with the little wand that moves. This is the visual indicator of her levity stacks. All the way to the right means she has them capped. All the way to the left means she has none, right? So if we're going real fast, it's going to be all the way to the right. Yeah. So you can kind of judge her speed, right? Item-wise, everything you would want. Nothing that's super strong. That's not really a thing to worry about here. Feat-wise, she's got a strength to qualify her for Zariel. She's got a constitution for Vajra. She now, in the current Thayan Enclave, so the current emergence event, created a Make Undead feat. This makes her count as undead and increases the damage, her damage by 400%. And then it says no description. I don't know why it does that. Bugs. So if you like Nahara, if you like running Black Dice Society, pick that up. It's the Vampire Emergence event. She's got a cool skin as well that's available. Vampire Nahara. This doesn't unlock the champion, but if you have her, it does that, and then you can get her this feat here. This feat here. Okay. All right, Desmond. So if you were wondering, like, why would we want everybody to count as undead? Well, let's talk about Desmond. Desmond's male human ranger, chaotic good, and support. He has both melee and ranged base attacks, but it's a crossbow. Shoots the closest enemy with his hand crossbow, knocking them back a bit, but he'll have some melee stuff too. The thing. Noble Heart is his ability, and he increases the damage of champions adjacent to him. So he wants to be right next to the DPS. So let's start moving some people around here. And do this. I'm going to do this for pretty stuff. So now I've got Voronika behind Nahara. Nahara is the puppet you can see because she's got the little... Oh, you can't see it there. She's got a little puppet thing. Like, see? The little strings and stuff above her now. And then I've got Desmond adjacent. So this is how you'd want to place Desmond. Howl at the Moon. Desmond synergizes with the moon phases, reducing the attack cooldown of himself and adjacent champions. The closer to the full moon, the more the cooldown is reduced. At the start of each full moon, Desmond's ultimate cooldown fully resets. This allows you, if you're paying attention, to fire off his ultimate right before a full moon, and then fire it off again if you want to get a double ultimate real quick. But yeah. He has his own, these are his moon phases. You can see it now. We're like halfway through. Just ticks down over him with that little icon. Devotion in dark times. The dark side of the moon increases the effect of Noble Heart, depending on how close the new moon is. So the closer to the new moon, the bigger the buff. Okay. So I really, and then the spec choices let you kind of make some adjustments here. But just know that he is going to be kind of, he's a rhythmic buffer, right? Is the buff is going to go up and down over time as the moon phases change. It's going to wax and wane, as it were. Spec choices: double time, embrace the beast, or strengthen numbers. Double time, this moon cycle of Howl at the Moon is twice as fast, which they say recharges his ultimate attack more often. It also it makes those curves faster, right? So you're yeah, it's just going to happen quicker. The end result is you'll be able to fire the ultimate more often if that's something you want. Embrace the Beast. This additively increases the base attack cooldown reduction that Desmond's Howl at the Moon provides by a half a second. In addition, the full moon of Howl at the Moon takes 30 seconds, while the new moon only takes 10 seconds. Did I skip an ability? No, I didn't. Good. All right. Making sure we did talk about that. So he boosts attack speed, he buffs adjacent, he reduces attack speed, or makes people attack faster adjacent. This will make them attack faster more often. So if attack speed is what you're going for, this is Embrace the Beast. Strength in numbers, Devotion Dark Times gets 100% additive buff. In addition, the new moon of Howl at the Moon takes 30 seconds, while the full moon and gibbous moons only take 10. So this is new moon and crescent only take 10. So this is attack speed spec. This is damage spec. Basically, if you want to think about it that way. You pick what's most important to you. Usually if I'm putting Desmond in, I'm wanting to attack. I'm wanting to hit as hard as possible. But that's just me. Everybody plays the game a little differently. All right, running with the pack. This increases the effect of Noble Heart, so his buff, on lycanthropes, druids, and Black Dice Society champions. So he does obviously buff the Black Dice Society, but also if your DPS is a lycanthrope or druid, it would affect them too if you're not in a BDS group. Lament the Lost. This is the big one. This is Desmond's like kind of key ability. Desmond increases the damage of all champions by a large amount, which varies based off itemization. This stacks multiplicatively for each, that's the good way, for each slot in the formation that contains a dead or undead champion, or is taken up by an escort character or object. This is why there's now feats for the Black Dice Society, for people to count them as dead. Black Dice Society and otherwise. This creates more dead champion options, right? Those feats do. And this buffs based off dead champions. It buffs multiplicatively. And since you see this number is affected by an item, this slot 5, that means this is a mathematically overpowered ability because the item affects the pre-stack multiplier. This is super strong. So when you're doing like escort missions, like, oh, I don't know, are you chicken? If you put Desmond in and everyone else in that formation is dead as well, you're getting 9 stacks, 9 multiplicative stacks, and you're getting buffs, you're getting power based off those escorts, which isn't something you normally get. Okay. Yeah. All right. Ultimate, unlock the beast. If you haven't figured it out yet, Desmond's a werewolf. So he transforms, attacks the enemy with the most hit points, so usually that's a boss. Does 3 hits. He swipes with both claws and bites them, and then returns back to the formation as a human. Noble Heart gets a 300% increase for 30 seconds. So it's a 3-hit ultimate and a 30-second buff. There he goes. Boom. I wish he stayed as the werewolf for the 30 seconds. I wish that was your indicator of when the buff wore off. There's my quality of life recommendation. See any? Hopefully you're listening. Item wise, the big one, obviously, the Lament the Lost item. That's the big item for Desmond, and yeah, he'll, with that kind of item, with that kind of ability, anything that's pre-stack that affects a pre-stack multiplier with an item, you can keep jumping lots and lots of item levels into it, and that champion continues to scale. Whereas most of the time you hit diminishing returns and it doesn't matter. The feats to call out here are you can adjust attack speed a little bit. Obviously the Lament the Lost ones are the big ones because of the pre-stack, because they affect the pre-stack number as well. So that's, he's pretty straightforward. He's the person that I lean on when I see that there's an escort mission and it's taking like 3 or 4 champions away. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm using Desmond here. with a bunch of dead champions. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Valentine. Valentine, female, reborn half-elf, sorcerer, neutral, support, and gold find champion. She is a fantastic gold find champion, folks. She's one of those that I tend to recommend for people when they're building your gold find groups. She's great. Base attack, magical mind sliver. She attacks a random enemy with a mental magic attack, which deals damage and has a chance to stun them. Arms of Hadar is her ultimate. This is similar. Well, no, it's not. Inky black tentacles erupt from her mouth and hands, targeting the closest enemy and those around it, dealing damage and stunning them for 48 seconds. They take 1,000% damage while they're stunned. So it is a damage button. Watch closely. She's down here at the bottom because gross. Ah. That's what happens. Ideally, you're doing that on a boss. Ideally, you're puking Hadar all over a boss. Tragram is the key ability. The aberrant spirit in Valentine's brain telepathically reaches out to the other champions. For each positional formation ability affecting Valentine, she increases the damage of all champions with the DPS roll. And it stacks multiplicatively. So, you want her, this is why she has this counter here, one of the reasons. You want this number as high as possible. So she loves formations that have lots of PFAs, positional formation abilities. And with that, just having a lot of those hitting her, she's going to buff every person with the DPS tag in the formation. Okay. Socialite. She duplicates any positional formation abilities that are affecting her. This is why you want to hit her with all of them. To champions in the formation with the DPS roll. So whether you built your formation, like you build your formations to hit her with your PFAs, if you can also hit your primary DPS, great, but you don't have to. Because she takes that buff and gives it to them, as well as buffing them from Tragram, right? And if that champion already has the ability, because you could hit it directly and get the transfer, it gets boosted. Now there's a thing to make sure that this doesn't make Artemis OP, or more OP, I should say. But yeah, this is great. You really want to prioritize hitting her with as many as possible. And then the secondary priority is hitting your primary DPS, because then they'll get a boosted version. Life of Leisure looks at the count of PFAs that are hitting her and boosts your gold find 100%, stacking multiplicatively for each of these stacks. Fantastic. This is why I said she's really great in gold find. Placement, you have to build your formation right, but really great for gold find. Spec choices. All Hail the Godbrain, my loyal bodyguard or family business. All Hail the Godbrain boosts pre-stack damage increase on Tragram stuff. Okay, so if you're pushing for damage, this is generally what you're choosing. Family business boosts the gold find. Okay, so if you're doing gold find, you choose family business. Now, if you're running a Black Die Society formation, you might be looking to My Loyal Bodyguard. If Valentine is affected by Tatyana's Faithful Friend ability, it is boosted by 200%. We'll get to that. We're gonna choose this. Are we? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and choose that, and hope that we can adjust to hit that in a good way. Tatyana's Faithful Friend is random, and we'll get to that. So, all right. That's it. She didn't need anything else, folks. This makes her strong enough. Just understand, you want to point the PFAs at her. Now, because she is a pre-stacker here on Socialite, so her big item is her slot 3, her Socialite item. Right? Feat-wise, is there anything that really stands out? Yeah, okay. So strength score qualifies her for Zerial. Dexterity is... I want to say that's a Narak thing. Maybe. It has to do... It's not a patron, so it's something else. Air Genasi glitch. It might also be Zorbu. Air Genasi glitch makes her count as an Air Genasi and changes her alignment to chaotic evil. This can be huge for certain formations. And then she does have an int feat that qualifies her for Strahd naturally, like without Nahara, right? Which is important sometimes if maybe you're not trying to build a full Black Dice Society group for Strahd stuff. right? But you still want her in the formation. All right, let's talk about Finn. Finn, a female drow Dampier, warlock rogue, chaotic evil, DPS or support. So in a Black Dice Society formation, full one, you're using her as support. Melee base attack pack blade, she darts out to the closest enemy and slashes with her longsword, hitting all nearby enemies. So it's an AoE. And if you're looking like, what's the difference between a Dampier and a vampire? I have to explain this every time. A Dampier is a vampire that's just a little bit wet. Like maybe they were out in the rain. Maybe they've been slogging through a swamp. But you get the idea. Base ability, mischievous but dangerous. Finn increases the damage of all champions in her column. So she is buffing in the same column. All right. Patron's Oath. This is what people love Finn for, honestly. While Finn is in the formation and you are in a patron variant or free play, patron challenge progress made by her party is increased. Now I know that number it's a different value because there's a feat for that. So depending on whether you have the feat for it or not, that's the thing. So patron challenge stuff. If you're someone who manually does your patron challenges, having Finn in the party just makes it just fly. You know, basically with the feat, it's a 4x progress. Okay? So 4 times as fast. Word on the street is they're going to make this work as long as she's in any party. It'll work on all parties. Word on the street. No ETA. Warlock Pact. Finn reduces the normal attack speed of all warlocks in the formation by 0.1 second for each point of wisdom an adjacent champion has above 10. I'll be honest, I never build around this. I'm like, whatever it ends up, it's going to end up. But there is some attack speed stuff you could do here. Right? She's a warlock, and so is Nahara, so it works, but it's... I don't know. It's the least important thing to me when I'm building my formation. Shadows of the Underdark versus Curse of the Dampier. Shadows of the Underdark, for me, is the support spec. But sometimes can be a DPS spec. Just depends. Finn imbues her blade with Eldritch energy, increasing the effect of mischievous but dangerous by 14/7 byte amount. Varies with an item. Causing her normal attack to deal in addition 5 seconds of bud base damage with each hit. This should be a secondary burst, and that's why sometimes I'll use this. If I know I have plenty of damage, but I want to chew through armor, recall right, this adds a second hit. So you can do 2 chunks. That's why sometimes I use it as a DPS. But usually this is support. And the nice thing is this turns her as a support into a secondary DPS because of the bud base damage. So as long as your primary DPS is doing a tons of damage, she can go in and remove armor chunks. Curse of the Dampier is set up to be her DPS spec. It boosts her damage by a lot. We're using her as support in this scenario. All right, I've got you, friends. Finn increases the effect of mischievous but dangerous by 100% for each champion in the formation that is either Black Dice Society affiliation or Wisdom 15 plus, stacking multiplicatively. Now remember, you can build around this. There is another champion in the game that can gain affiliations, which works for multiple members here. Strongheart. You put Strongheart in, he can temporarily join the most populous affiliation. So you could actually boost numbers with Strongheart. Keep that in mind when you're running Black Dice Society. Strongheart pairs well with them for that reason, because they have multiple abilities where you just need to be a member of the Black Dice Society. To get a boost. Form of Dread. We got another Form of Dread in the party. Fenn transforms into her Dread form. She sprouts wings, leaps into the air, and charges directly across the area, dealing 1 hit of ultimate damage to all enemies she passes and knocking them back a short distance. Boom, there it is. It's like a winged werewolf. I don't know. Item-wise, all the basic stuff. Can't remember if anything stands out off the top of my head. I don't believe so. automatically OP. I'd have to check. The big feat you want is Patron's Oath, obviously, to get that patron progress. Otherwise, it's all the kind of standard stuff that you would be expecting from a champion. All right. Oh. Okay. I've moved. Remember, this little blue circle is the thing that we chose a spec for. And then, as you know, it lands on a specific place. We'll go back. Talk about this. Is her faithful friend thing. So, Tatyana, female air genasi barbarian druid, chaotic neutral. She fulfills taking, support, and speed roles. I want to be very clear. She is the kind of speed champion that doesn't speed up your progress really through an adventure. She speeds up a specific thing. And in this case, it is killing stuff. She can generate, she speeds up kill counting and kill stacking and things like this because of her speed effect. You'll see it happening over here. 25 overwhelm is a tank. Base attack, twin kukri strike. She attracts the closest enemy with 2 strikes. Okay, so a double hit. Faithful friend, a random slot from the middle columns of the formation is chosen. She increases the damage of whoever's in that slot. This is that thing that you wanted, that I chose a spec for it to land on Valentine. And then if we land on Valentine, Valentine then spreads it to every other DPS. That's the way you could, that's the kind of way you want to do that scenario. Otherwise, you have to figure out where that dot is and put your DPS on. Okay. Loyal Protector, this is her health share ability. It is the basic one, so just 25% of max health to everybody. Rising Fury, each time she's attacked, she gains a Fury stack. The effect of Faithful Friend is boosted for each stack, and it stacks additively. She loses 10% of Fury stacks every 15 seconds that she's not attacked. Caps at 150. Caps at 150. Okay. So, when she's under attack, she's going to go into a rage and buff stronger. This is a normal kind of tank ramping ability. Find a Feast. This is the speed ability, and you've probably seen it over here when an entire wall of enemies appears. If Tatyana is not attacked for 15 seconds, this is why it's not a normal speed ability. Because if you've got to wait on an area for 15 seconds, you're not speeding through that area. Okay? It might help closer to your wall if you're trying to build up 100 enemies, but that's very niche, right? But normally we're talking about like gem farming. She's not a gem farming speed champion. Not attacked for 15 seconds and the players are in a non-boss area with no barriers. She briefly runs ahead of the right side, off the right side of the screen. She returns 2 seconds later, so this takes 17 seconds to even happen. From the right side with additional enemies. That number is affected by itemization. They all spawn immediately. That's why we have a huge line. After she returns, the 15-second counter starts again from 0. There it is. There's that big line again. Okay, so she increases kills. Okay. Rage! She's a barbarian. When Tatyana reaches 50 or more Fury stacks, or above 50 Fury stacks, for every 15 seconds she's above that, she gets a rage stack, up to 6 stacks. With at least 1 stack, she rages and her base attack changes, and she changes form, too. She becomes very monstrous. For each rage stack, Faithful Friend gets a 400% boost, and it stacks multiplicatively. So the longer you're raging, the more damage she does, up to 6 stacks. She goes below the 50, she loses all rage stacks. Okay. Now, her spec choices change, in part, can either change the functionality of her friend, the little blue dot, and also boost the effect. Okay, so your friends are my friends. It makes the little blue dot affect all champions and slots adjacent to the Faithful Friend slot. So it wraps all the way around. This helps if you can't put your DPS exactly where you want to, right? So that gives you a big like wrap area boost around them. By my side affects all champions in the column containing the Faithful Friend. So this was in the second column. It would do the whole up and down column if you choose by my side. And the first one buffs it by 100%. The second one buffs it by 200%. But the last one leaves it as just that singular dot and boosts it by 400%. So if you can get the big boost, you take it, right? Take it. We can in this situation because we just put Valentine there. All right. Entangle is the ultimate. It kind of is what it says on the 10. Stripe of entangling a strip. Either way, entangling roots appears to the right side of the front column. Really, you're gonna see. Not the clearest explanation. Dealing damage to all enemies inside it and all enemies that enter it while it exists, so during its duration. It lasts for 30 seconds. Enemies standing in the roots deal 50% less damage. So there it is. It's right here. So it's just kind of right in front of the formation. So basically it's going to be damage reduction for enemies attacking her, and they take damage while they're in it. Well, it damages anyone who's standing there, and then it damages anybody who walks into it the first time they walk in. Itemization, the two big ones here, health, obviously, as a tank. And then the spawning, she has one that's literally just increases the number of enemies spawned. So if you want walls of enemies, I think Sean does it and it's like floods the screen or something. The higher the item level you get, the more it gets. I found I boosted it to 1,000, a little over 1,000 item levels. Shiny, and honestly 30 enemies at a time is good for me. I don't really need more than that. It kind of slows down after that, because again it deals with diminishing returns. She does have a +2 charisma feat. This is to get her into patron Zariel stuff. Otherwise it's everything you'd expect out of a tank support champion. And the final member of the Black Dice Society. I think we've got everybody properly stationed, except for Brother Uriah. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, no, I did him too. Cool. Brother Uriah, male human cleric, lawful good, healing and support. His base attack is Toll the Dead, a magical attack. So he points at a random enemy and deals damage, preferring enemies that are already damaged. Okay. That's his thing. Base ability, Doomed in Darkon. Brother Uriah increases the damage of all champions in his column and the column behind him. So he is properly placed a buff in his column. That's hitting Valentine, and of course she's spreading it to our primary DPS here, which is Nahara, right? And boosting it because it's also hitting her already, right? Ezra's Embrace. Brother Uriah heals all champions within 2 slots. So within 2 adjacencies for 10 health per second. The effect is increased by 25% for each formation slot containing a dead or undead champion or an escort, stacking additively. Now, this is another reason why you might want to make your Black Dice Society formation dead, so they get some more healing. But let's be honest, healing in the game isn't in a great state. So, I wouldn't... this can be helpful at times. Not necessarily your prime focus. In the Grip of Azalin Rex. This changes kind of how, this is the dictator of what kind of formation really you want to put Brother Uriah in. After 100 normal attacks by champions in the formation, Azalin Rex takes over Brother Uriah for 60 seconds. While controlled by Azalin Rex, Brother Uriah increases the damage of Nahara. So good for Black Dice Society. He has now taken him over. He is now, it says Brother Uriah in quotes. This is on purpose because they are now in the grip of Azalin Rex. This is the indicator. Okay. So increases Nahara and all evil champions. So Brother Uriah is specifically a support for Black Dice Society or evil formations, to be clear, because you can use him in a regular formation, like with a neutral or a good DPS, but he's not going to get all of his buffs. So optimal usement is Black Dice Society or evil formations. Okay. Spec choice, Book of Exalted Deeds or Book of Vile Darkness. Book of Exalted Deeds, Brother Uriah reads from the Book of Exalted Deeds, making undead and fiends his favored foes, and all champions deal an additional amount of damage to them. Okay, so you can create favored foes here. This is a favored foe mechanic if you want. They could do more damage. That is the choice here. Over here, Aslan reads from the Book of Violent Darkness. Notice it says Aslan reads, not Brother Uriah. And it increases the effect of In the Grip of Aslan Rex. So if Nahara is your DPS or you have an evil DPS, you go with this. This is the choice. Yeah. We're going that way, obviously. All right. Oops. There we go. So I tend to only use him with Nahara or an evil DPS, and then I lean into the whole evil with the Aslan Rex thing. That's, to me, that's ideal. But that's mainly because I don't do a lot of the favored foe formation stuff. Personally. Personal choice. Ultimates, your Blade Barrier. Brother Uriah creates a wall of whirling, razor-sharp blades of magical energy and sends them flying across the area. Here it goes. Boom. See? They flew over there, and then they sit there right at the spawn point. The blades come to a stop a short distance in front of the formation. That's not true at all. They fly all the way across to the spawn point. They last for 10 seconds. Each time an enemy passes through the barrier, they take ultimate damage. So yeah. It's supposed to stop somewhere out here, and instead it goes all the way to the edge of the screen. Yay. Item-wise, nothing super standouty, because he doesn't really have any, stacking stuff. This is the only kind of functionality change. Faithful Reward increases Ezra's Embrace to heal targets within 3 slots. So yeah, it has some use in healing if you're trying to heal and keep people alive in those permanent, like those constant damage scenarios. Or if your placement isn't, you're trying to just get lots of PFAs on people that count PFAs and you need to get some extra range, that could work. Right? This is a very positional formation ability friendly for the group. Like they want that specifically because of Valentine. And so using her with any other people that boost based off that can be good. This is it. This is Black Knight Society. This damn. Can we, now that we're leveled up, can we progress? We'd probably silly devour. How dare you? Oh, he killed our DPS right away. Of course he did. Of course he did. All right, folks. How many questions we got stored up? I got 11 questions sitting here. If you have a question, to put question colon in front of your question, like it says down there. Otherwise, it won't come to me. You just have to run on chat. We're going to take a short musical interlude. When we're back, I will dive into all of those questions. The song we're going into the break with is a song for Valentine. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Life of the party, torn from the grave. She never follows, she won't behave. Tentacles and pearls, she'll tear apart your world. Silvers of the mind, head of mind is fair. Princess fortune pain. Fear is hard, don't blame. She's a nightmare, drowned in velvet. Can't escape her in your hand. If she wants it, she will take it. Twist your thoughts and cut your thread. Your mind is hers to play. Happy Valentine's Day. Betrayed, beheaded, scars left to hide. She will release the dark inside. Death's not eternal. She's not your friend. You're just a tool, means to an end.
Such a good song. That's such a good song. I was very tempted to restart it and just listen to it again. I listened to it before the show started too, so I might like that song. I'm working on. I forgot to put familiars on ultimates so that we could get Voronika into her Dark Lord form, but she will be there shortly, folks. She will have the crown soon. So let's dive into questions from chat. Questions from chat. Foolish Genius, how much of a bonus is Strongheart specking into Black Dice Society? Well, anyone that has an ability that's based off the number of Black Dice Society formations is going to change this. So, calculating guidance would go up by a stack. So we're at 7 stacks. Let's throw. So 7 stacks. Oh, hold on. Is an E10 bonus, 136 E10. Let's get Strongheart in here. This is honorary member is what we're doing. Wait, why did he not? Oh, because we're on in trees. Okay. How dare they? How dare they? Went up to an order of magnitude change for calculating guidance. Who else did we have a change on? Nahara is going to get another 5x multiplier, I believe, for Strong Society. So that takes her up to, the EO6, 781 EO6. Where was she before? 156, so it doesn't quite get her out, but it is another multiplier. Like what this does overall, hard to say. I don't know, why do I keep changing this? We're also going to see, you would also put Strongheart near Valentine. He's going to have a boost here for PFAs. If I place that, that's going to change the formation. Who else? Somebody else. At least one more. Here we go. I've got You Friends goes up to 8 stacks, which is an 651 EO6 from 324. So again, and not huge. Again, not all stacking abilities are equal. She's all about fury and rage. And then Brother Uriah is the one that's gonna... Yeah, okay. So those are the main things. Let's see, how would I do this? If I were doing this formation, I would switch this here, and I would extend or buff. Oh, I already have it. I already have that in. Next 2 columns. So we would go from 7 to 8 here, and we would start getting all of Strongheart's functionality. Oh, we have the crown now. You can see Voronika is now in her Dark Lord form. She looks alive. She is not. Be clear. And then all of Strongheart's stuff is hitting Valentine, who's spreading it to all the other damage champions, which is good because he generates attack speed. He generates attack speed and damage buffs. So, solid combination, in my opinion. Considering the way all of this works. Considering, like you want Brother Uriah in the grip of Aslan Rex as often as possible. So spreading more attack speed out to the party is why I chose to move him here and not have him adjacent to Nahara, because we're getting as many people as possible boosted attack speed. So you chew through something like Tree Blight faster. Look at that go. Look at that go. Yeah. Obviously, compare whoever you're pairing with your Black Dice Society with, the biggest buffs or whatever. I like functionality. Generally, my damage isn't an issue. Obviously, every account is different. Electric, lots of dead feats in the Enclave this time around. Yeah, because it's a Halloween, it's a Vampire Emergence event. Does a dead formation rival other metas? So with the introduction of Cass likes dead champions, but he can create his own. He doesn't need feats. He doesn't need your feats. He can make everyone dead himself. So that's not really what it's about in my mind. For me, these dead feats are really synergizing into more of a Desmond situation. It can be a big deal when you're trying to complete a variant that has restrictions that are removing formation slots with escorts. That's the big thing. So having those dead feats, it changes that. It isn't necessarily that you're... I mean, it very well could boost the power of a Black Dice Society formation. That's really the big place. Because again, the other formation that wants dead is Cass, but he can handle that himself. He can make everyone in the formation dead. With a little work on your part. Everybody in the formation can count as dead for Cass. You actually wouldn't want those feats in when you're running with Cass. For Cass reasons. Go watch my guide where we talked about Liar's Night, where we talked about Cass. You want people alive as long as possible, and you only want them dead at the end for the hard part. When you're counting debuffs for Voronika from Deathfinch, does each crawl stack count as one debuff? Not a stack, no. Like, it's not, because you can count up to 10 stacks, but each instance, or each plague would count, but not each stack of the plague. I believe that's how it would work. Now, with other champions, applying debuffs over and over again is more the faster method, as opposed to one that just goes on and stays on, builds up stacks and stays forever. You kind of want to reapply over and over and over if you're trying to do that. Franzik, I could be wrong, but for Voronika, Havilar, and Dungeon Master, I thought you said 2 ultimates is 10 seconds. Correct. Isn't it 3 ultimates for 10 seconds? No. Havilar times 2 and Dungeon Master times... No, like the average... You have to think about it as an average over time. It's... I hit an ultimate. I hit another ultimate. It effectively cuts, if you think about it math-wise, I have cut the cooldown timer in half for the first ultimate. That makes sense? Like, I guess maybe a better way to think about it is if I hit a Cavalar's ultimate and I wait until it's got 5 seconds left and then I hit Dungeon, or, right about that, hit Dungeon Masters, she then gets to fire hers off again to start a new rotation. Dungeon Masters hits his. The ultimate, the average over time is going to be 2 ultimates every 10 seconds. Now, if you just wanted to hit her ultimate, hit his, and then hit hers again, you can go 3 in that first, like really quickly. But we're talking about an average over hours of time, maybe even days. It's 2 ultimates every 10 seconds. Should be how that works out. I hate doing math on stream. I hate doing math. The point is, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a long while. And I don't know if anybody's... Again, I was hoping if somebody would point... Somebody found a faster way to do it. You don't want to introduce more ultimates into that scenario. Really. Because then that screws up Dungeon Master's efficiency and... Foolish Genius, does Finn also count as a lycanthrope? There's nothing in her kit that says she counts as a lycanthrope. Lurking Rider. Can you explain why Desmond actually is a lycanthrope, why Azaka counts as one despite not being one, and why it's an important distinction? Wizards of the Coast are wrong and should feel bad. Yes! Folks, this game calls things lycanthropes. And I think Wizards of the Coast calls things lycanthropes, and it's anything that changes a form, like has been inflicted with a disease and changes form into something else. This is, they count werewolves, they count were-tigers, they count were-rats, they count were-bears. Dinar. Dinar has a were-bear skin now. This Nahara counts as a lycanthrope feat to go with it. But where is it? Did I get it already? I don't know. Or he needs one. He didn't get one. He needs one. Maybe? Yeah. Anyway. But these are not lycanthropes. These are effectively like some other, I don't know what a good general name for it is. They're all different things, because a lycanthrope, the etymology of the word is literally, lycan is wolf. This is talking about a werewolf. And these others are not werewolves. They're were creatures of one form or another, but they're not werewolves. So Desmond is actually a lycanthrope, but this game is going to count anybody who counts as some kind of, were tiger is Azaka counts as a lycanthrope in this game. Yeah. Where streamers are referred to like and subscribes. Yes. We know this. People who only stream at the full moon, they're like and subscribes. Ogre Barbarian. Several of Black Dice Society are fantastic for casts, like Voronika, Desmond, and Valentine. Who else would you include to round out a cast team? So I want to be very clear again. Anyone that counts as dead as a base functionality is not actually good for cast. And please go read his kit. He wants to go as many areas as possible with as many live people as possible in the formation. He builds up stacks that way. He's an in-run ramper. He builds stacks in a specific adventure, and it's based off the number of people who are alive in every area. So if you reduce that by putting in people who count as dead as a passive function, like Voronika, you're reducing his potential damage. Now, he does have another function of his kit where he multiplies, and Foolish Genius go in there at the same time. He has another part of his kit that boosts his damage based off the number of dead people in the party. This is where understanding mechanics is helpful here. You want to go as far as possible with live people until you run out of damage. In a lot of cases, you may be able to just complete the adventure with everyone alive. Yay. It's only when you get to a point where you're not able to progress that you want to then start introducing dead champions to the party. And by introducing, I mean letting them die off one by one until you have enough damage. Test one. Kill off one. Get one dead person. Get a multiplier. Get another dead person. Get a multiplier. Okay. Please read his kit very specifically. I may even be confusing it a little bit, but I do know for a fact that he is like Blueshy, and that you want to run as far as you can and earn as many points as possible. I think you read a Mystery cast. Maybe he's brand new and he's weird. Like some non-vampire spawn. Did they change it to okay, hold on, let me double check. This is where his kit is funky. And I've gotten confused multiple times. Is it just non-vampire spawn? Because I thought it was non-dead. This is why I always get because this vampire spawn thing is new. Usually we're talking about dead, and that gets me confused. Every time this is the first part. Cast gains pawn stacks equal the number of champions of formation that are not. Okay. So not one of his vampire spawns. So you can use dead people, but just don't kill off your whole party, I guess, is the key. Undead just gets heals. No one cares. No one cares, Cass. Here's the thing. When a champion that is not already undead dies, they lose this. So they immediately resurrect at full health. They would lose this part. But do they become... Do they just lose the immediately resurrect and still become a vampire spawn? I guess that's the question. And I haven't tested it. But this is what I say, he can create his own undead, but really he wants to count the vampire spawn. So the big thing is with Cass is, okay, you're losing Finn, first off. You're going to lose Finn. Like if you were trying to build this party. You don't get Finn in your party. You would throw out, like, so some of the Black Dice Society formation people would have to go. Nahara would have to go. I don't think Tatyana makes any sense here. Brother Uriah likes evil, so that would work. The big ones are Desmond, Valentine. You could say Valentine, but I think that's just because positionals. I don't think she immediately jumps in this party. I think it's Desmond and Voronika would be with Cass. And nobody else, because nobody else really cares about the undead part. Right? Undead get to double dip, so if they die, they still get stacks and counter spawns. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I did not mess with that at all. I'm not a Cass. I wasn't a Krond person before, and Cass is basically an undead stronger version of Krond. Like these playstyles weren't for me. I recognize that they're strong, but yeah, I haven't. It's going to take me using Cass more to get that fully down and not get confused on that part, because they start adding all these new things like vampire spawns and key allies, and it's just, I've got 140 something champions in my head and get confused. All right, so stick to it. Stick to the idea that you want to make sure that you're keeping people alive as long as possible, not turning them into vampire spawns. The undead feature bonus is more like he does get a damage boost, but really you're worried about that more at the end of your run. So you don't necessarily need the feats in for that early. I mean, you could put them in as long as it's giving you the most damage. You can pretty much ignore the heal thing unless you're doing one of those constant damage things. Yeah. We went more into Cass on a previous VOD. You'd have to go back. Do we have anything else? Would I like, as someone, Ryan asked, would I like a Cass DPS in my Black Dice Society? No, because that effectively removes 2 Black Dice Society members. No longer a Black Dice Society formation, really. Looking Rider, do you think you'd ever run a full Black Dice Society formation outside of a Strahd variant if Karlach is otherwise available? I'm a Karlach main, so no. Looking Rider, do you think that because of Finn's function regarding patron shortage, she should be permanently available for Elminster? No. Because again, the rumor on the street is they're just going to make her work in all... Like if she's in a party, the effect would spread to all parties. If they do that, then you wouldn't need to make her permanently available for anything, because none of that would matter. Belswin, would Whittle hang out with the Black Dice Society? She would now. You can throw in a little bit of Whittle. Again, she's going to add attack speed, which Brother Uriah likes. I mean, most people like it. But she also now has a feat, Make Undead, where she's going to count as undead. It also boosts Vampiric Gaze, which is a fantastic double up. Vampiric Gaze boosts are a big deal. So this new Make Undead feat would pair her very well with this. Right? Because again, you're just getting like free multipliers for Desmond's Lament the Lost. Rough Rider, back to general questions. Sir, what was the bug you had at the top of the screen so we know how to avoid it? I think it has to do with the new sorting stuff. I went to core, and for some reason it wasn't showing Brunner at all, even though I had show recallable, and it turned out he was in another party. So it didn't show him, even though show recallable is here. So I'm not sure if this is working correctly currently. Electric, when is the best time to unlock Elminster? Whenever it just naturally happens. Don't rush Elminster. Seems like the patron chest value is much better than others. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a large pool. I don't know what you mean by that, I guess. I don't see a valuation difference. But it's just whenever you naturally unlock him. He is the late game patron. So you shouldn't try to rush Elminster. Just, if you try to rush him, you're not going to have the power to do his stuff, probably. Or he might, but he has very high requirements because it's Elminster. If you're helping Elminster do something, you're in the deepest end of the pool. Because he doesn't have small chores for people. like his patron variants have very high area goals. At a minimum. Rough Rider, during a free play, why does Dungeon Master guest star the champion that is on jury duty? I don't know. That's a question for the bug people. Not me. I'm not tech support. I'm not support for this game. T5 Cats, pigment search where? It's right here. Has pigment. Boom. Hey! It works. These are all the champions I've thrown at least one pigment on. Boom. Also, another change over here. They changed the rarity slider. So it's like any or all. So if you're trying to figure out like who has what, this is important. If you're not fully epic like I am or legendary like I am, you'll be able to do this with the any and the all change. That's actually a big deal. Trying to do that when I was on the new account. So this is more for people who are still working their way up, but good addition. Good addition. Blue Steel Wheels just discovered in Walnut's bio that she has a goddess inside her. Okay. Consider your champion background knowledge. Do you have some other fascinating or humorous champion bios to be sure not to miss? Oh, I don't know if everything is in a bio. That's the thing. The big thing I used to talk about is the fact that the Dinar is actually a werebearer, and it's not in his kit anywhere. They've now added the skin, so of course I had to just go buy the skin because Dinar as a werebearer is fantastic. But Dinar has always been a werebearer. And now he's a there bear. See, he's right there. So I would say there's little things like that. For me to go through like all 140 champions and try to come up with something that like is neat, because I don't know, I don't memorize their bios. But if they're from like streams and stuff, and I know what's going on, and I've watched those streams, that I'm going to know a little more about them than other champions. But that doesn't mean I know like every champion, right? I'm trying to think of any that are. Oh, like a funny thing about BBEG. For a long time, it was just BBEG in terms for D&D and TTRPGs stands for Big Bad Evil Guy, which is why his name was BBEG, jokingly in the series that created this. But then they actually gave him a name, and those are his initials. Lurking Rider will have the name off the top off his head, I'm sure. It's something. It's like Bartholomew Beelzebub Ezekiel Grubb, I think is his actual name. But he just goes by BBEG. But that's a double. Yeah, there we go. Bartholomew Beelzebub Ezekiel Grubb. I got it. I'm so proud of myself. But that's a funny little thing because BBG is, while they have given him a name that this makes sense for, it wasn't. Omen is, I don't know, the Omen is canonically one of the masked lords of Waterdeep. And when I say canonically, I don't just mean they talk about that sometimes on their streams. I mean, it's in a book, folks. It's in, like, you know, if you buy Forgotten Realms books, there's at least one book that references Omen as a masked lord of Waterdeep, which means it went through the Wizards of the Coast approval process and is canon. He is one of the masked lords. Binwin is dead. Rip Binwin. There's a skin that sort of references this. It's Petrified Binwin. Binwin, when he guested with Dice Camera Action, fought a beholder, rolled poorly, got turned into stone, rolled poorly again, and was disintegrated. Binwin is dust. And has never been resurrected. Technically, with that dust, he could be brought back. But no one's done it? Shut up, Sean. That's never happening on one of my streams. What else we got? Karlach is Bay. I think everybody knows that. Karlach is the best. Fun fact. Stokey has actually been played in a TTRPG live play a very, very long time ago in a podcast that was an Idle Champions themed live play, because it was about a bug that occurred in Idle Champions, where one time we logged into the game and all of the distractions, like the birds and things that were flying through the air, were upside down. And there is an old live play podcast out there, like a 3-parter that was played amongst multiple podcasts, where Stokey got played live. Yeah. What else? We got anything fun over here? Like I said, I don't know everybody's stuff. So some bench seats I'm going to know more about than others. Evelyn has an evil doppelganger, and the way you know the difference between them is that Evelyn's name has evil in it. She's the good one. Evelyn is the pronunciation of the evil one. One is good and one is evil, and the good one has evil in her name. That's canonical fact. Also, and I can't remember if this shows in this show in game. Maybe not in this form. She has a prosthetic limb. That's actually why she flies. She floats. She has like these permanently enchanted boots of flying, so that it's not a temporary enchantment. It's constantly on, to make her movement easier in her life. What else we got? Caddy Bree is not a fighter anymore. The snapshot that we have of the Companions of the Hall is from the early on stuff that most people have read, like the first books and then stopped reading. But if you keep reading, Caddy Bree, as she gets older, gets injured and becomes a wizard, because she can't really, fight the same way anymore. And so becomes a wizard. And then, yes, spoilers, everyone. This has been out for like a long time, so it's not too spoilery. It's your fault if you didn't read the books. Everybody but Dretz dies and then gets reincarnated. So there is a skin in the game called Rukia Caddy Bree. That is the shout out, the only one we have, I think, to the fact that the companions died and were reincarnated, and Caddy Bree was reincarnated to a different family in a different part of the world. Her new parents named her Rukia. And that's how she grew up until she left to become Catti Brie again. Oh, Black Viper is not the original Black Viper. Black Viper, the character, Lady Esvele Rajnar, is not the first Black Viper. She took that title on to strike fear into the hearts of Waterdeep, basically, because the Black Viper was a storied, historic thief. She is just the newest incarnation. So think of it like if Batman, died and, decades or a century went by and somebody else decided to resurrect the persona of Batman. That's what Lady Esvele did, the Black Viper. We got going on over here. Not really. I mean, this all got started because of Walnut. Fun fact, Drizzt is not the leader of the Companions of the Hall. He's not. He's not, folks. Brunor is. There's your fun fact for that seat. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're kind of running out of... Tyrell's last name is Tall Guy. I think that might be in his bio. He's that straightforward. He's Tyrell Tall Guy. Because guess what? He's tall. He's a tall guy. Yeah, I think we're kind of at the end of the road of the things, the random stuff that I know about champions that may not be in their bios or readily available. Probably. Yeah, that's probably it. Shiny one, what does AoE mean and how is it helpful or useful to a champion? AoE stands for area of effect. Is a type of attack, right? So we have single target, so it just hits one thing. We have multi-target, which can hit multiple things depending on how many multiple things it's allowed to fire off. And we have AoE. Now, AoE, you can break AoE down into different things. You read the ability. It's basically it's going to give you wave clear, right? Because if it's a DPS champion, a lot of them are what I call what used to be referred to as a PB AoE, point blank AoE, which means in a small radius around wherever it's hitting, it's doing damage, and think of it as a circle. So a lot of people say they hit an enemy and it damages all other enemies around them. That's AoE. That's specifically a point blank AoE because it off a specific target. We also have line-based AoE in this game, like Zorbu is an example of that, where everything, like he fires off his crossbow bolt, it goes through everyone, and in that area of effect, in a line-based area of effect, it is doing damage to everything in there. So it's beneficial because it's wave clear. That's one of the huge wave clear if you have clumps of enemies. But also you're able to distribute, especially on debuff champions like Catti Brie. Her left spec allows her to do line-based AoE. Her attacks apply debuffs, and that allows you to debuff groups of enemies, right? So it just depends on their abilities. For a DPS champion, it's great because it's a wave clear functionality, right? It's the best wave clear functionality as a DPS. Single target is the slowest wave clear. Multi-target is better, but AoE is the best. Yeah. And for debuffing, obviously AoE, applying debuffs in an AoE is better, right? Horek, what in your opinion, here we go, would be the most efficient gold formation, assuming you're using gold champions and maybe a DPS? No, you wouldn't. I need to start farming Favor and Fortune's Wheel. Also, is it only me or does the bud change depending on the team you select? Well, 30 gold farm. Okay. So here's the gold. Man, the game. So the short answer is when you said what's in your opinion is the best gold, the most efficient goal formation. The game doesn't work that way. I could give you the champions that could potentially scale the best, but it depends on your gear and all kinds of stuff, and yeah. So just understand the game doesn't really go that way. If you're and the type of gold farming you're trying to do also affects who you're using. If you're trying to do a Zaka farm, which it doesn't sound like you are, there's some different champions you put in there. Krull is huge in Azaka farming, so is Freely. Like people who stack gold find. Merylwyn is better in that. But nowadays, most people do dirty gold farming, which I have down here. Dirty gold find as one of my teams. And dirty gold find is the name is based off the fact that over these 7 years now of Idle Champions existence, gold find, like trying to farm gold, traditionally was very labor intensive. Started off with Makos bombing, which if historically you'd like to look that up, I think there's a really old guide on the subreddit you can search for. It's not useful anymore, but it was a very manipulative thing that was rough to do, and the only way you could get extra gold in the early days. And then moved into Azaka farming, which lasted a very long time. Very, very long time. And you can still Azaka farm to this day. It's still potentially the highest number you can get. But dirty gold farming came about when really took hold when Turn of Fortune's Wheel came out, because it's so hard to get favor there. And it was named because it was such an easy way. The alternative name is Bud gold farming. The dirty nomenclature is because as someone who, those of us who have been doing this a long time and put so much effort into doing Azaka farming to get the reward, it felt dirty doing this because it was so easy to make money. That is where the name came from. So you could call it Bud gold farming, or you could call it, I call it dirty gold farming with 2 R's. The Christina Aguilera treatment. And it exists based off the idea of you're choosing champions who just straight up boost gold find without requiring on like debuffs or on hit anything. Because the idea is you're setting a very high Bud value with your pushing team. This is why I have 3 teams saved. Set a very high Bud value. You have a Fire Breath potion going. And then you just toggle, why they're saved, into this formation. And the Fire Breath potions with your clicks from your familiars are killing everything. You've just boosted your gold through the roof and are soaking up lots of gold. And then you just, when your Bud drops and you're not killing anything, you switch back to the pushing group, rinse, repeat, until you can't go any further. This is the best methodology for gold farming everywhere. I want to be clear. I did this on a new player account, and it works from the second your pushing team is different from the team that gives you the biggest gold find. You might as well do this. Let me just put it that way. I really highly recommend building 3 teams and saving them like this in every campaign. Speed team, because you should start your runs with your speed team. Pushing team, because then you spike your Bud with your pushing team, and then toggle back into the speed team with a Fire Breath potion running and keep flying super fast, right? And then gold find team when you run out of money and you need to level people up, right? And then you toggle between these 2 at the end of your pushes until you're done. This works throughout the game. So you can kind of see I have some champions here. I got Russ, I got Egbert, I got Corazon. Corazon does not have gold find, but he boosts the gold find coming off of Egbert. I have Jarlaxle, I got Omen, I got Penelope, but Dob would also work. It depends on who you're stacking up in that seat. I have a Starring in this one, but if this was saved pre-Eliwick's rework, Eliwick with enough moon cards could potentially beat a Starring. Depends on your investment. This is, a lot of these are very item level dependent stuff. You got to figure this out on your own. I got Merylwyn in here. I got Valentine. Again, she's a big deal. And I have Shandy in here because I don't like to do the Dungeon Master thing, but people would say Dungeon Master. I just like it to go faster. I don't know. That's who I'm using currently. But there's other options. I am Toast. Is it possible to get over a 100% scales boost? I assume you're talking about from like your jury duty bonuses. I believe that's the cap. Somebody in chat can correct me, but I thought the cap was 100%. Or is the cap on assault party DPS? I can't go check right now because I just finished mine. Whatever the game says the cap is, right? And you'll get bonuses from other things. Like if you hover over the bottom left of the map to see how many you're going to get, it tells you down there. But when you're adding like potions and champions, like whatever it says the cap is the cap. Bellsman, who are you picking for your free Timegate weekend? That's a good question. It is a natural Timegate weekend, folks. Which means you could come over here and you can pick any of the top 3 champions. The one that say free, you can pick them all for free. I go with, for me, because they all have lead epic gear, I go with the lowest item levels. When you're choosing what you should pick, and you haven't done all the split the parties, you should pick someone that's going to help you get split the party. Otherwise, build your speed team, build your pushing team, build your gold find team, right? None of these are speed team champions. Avandra is a gold find champion, so works as a gold find champion in her slot. Otherwise, you're looking at a variety of different pushing options. Voronika would have the highest potential if you're running ultimate power, the longest for pushing. I have the lowest average item levels on Avandra, so I'll be doing an Avandra. Timegate this weekend. I just always go with whoever has the lowest item level. Because everybody has the same amount of gear. The same quality of gear. Plume Bob, I don't yet have Commodore Crux. Is that golden musket increasing all hands on deck ability in the Thayan Enclave right now worth picking up? Or is it better to wait until it's available for gems? Wait for gem. All hands on deck is not a multiplicatively, like a pre-stack multiplicative item. So it's not really worth it, especially for Commodore Crux. He already, if you've got a lot of, if you're opening a lot of chests, he's probably shiny already. So the additional boost isn't that huge to me. Now, if you're a Crux main, you'd probably get it. Oh, that's right. The G isn't available for gems. My bad. I was thinking feats. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of up to you ultimately. If you have it shiny already and you put the golden on, you'll get a potion of polish back you can put somewhere else if that matters to you. But if you've already, normally with an evergreen, you're already shiny. And to me, shiny is more than enough on evergreens because they get so many item levels. So if you're not maining Crux, I don't know that it's worth it. But again, if you want it, go get it. Otherwise, yeah, the GEs are for gold. So are the skins. The GEs and the skins would be not for gold, for platinum. The G's and the skins would go in wild offers for platinum in the future. Whereas the feats, if there's a feat, the feats could be gems later on. Which reminds me, the first feat I bought in this time around in the Thayan Enclave, since you don't see it here, obviously, is the Eliwick feat. Of course, I wanted my gems. Even though I am not a 9-jump Briv, this is the 9-jump Briv feat. I know it says this, but if you're doing Briv gem farming, you should understand that this is 9-jump. Doesn't have to call it out. They're gonna change it, but honestly, people, of the things people complain about, if you're into Briv gem farming, you understand the 4-jump feat and what it says. So should know this is a 9-jump feat. Stop whining. Good lord. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy this one now, just so I have it. I'm not gonna get to 9-jump anytime before it would be out for gems, I don't think, but I'm just gonna get it so that it's done. Oh, I can buy something else. Nosferatu Whittle. I'm gonna buy the Whittle. I like this Whittle skin, so I'm gonna go with that. So you don't always have to pick what's like the most powerful thing, right? You can pick whatever you enjoy the most, and I think this skin is pretty great. Where is it? I think that skin's pretty great. Get Whittle out in the formation there. Yeah. Relations, are you sure everyone can do their first trial by themselves? Yes. I'm 100% positive. I'm on day 3 and the DPS does not feel like enough, even though I've met and passed the target area every time. So my question to you is, if you remember, was your first day's contribution before counting in any bonuses, E1 like 187 or higher? As long as it was, you're fine. It'd probably even be a little lower than that. Most people, by the time they're going to get there, if you were able to complete Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, kill off Tiamat, your damage is probably E200 or higher. Okay. So yeah, as long as you meet your daily goals, you're fine. Because the way Trials works, yeah, it looks like it's very short. It's like you're not doing much. But the number gets way more massive as you go along, and it's the later days that are really chunking things off. So if you're doing it solo, as long as you had E187 or higher on your day one, you'll be fine. Foolish genius. If they make a Gaarawarr skin for Brunner, you should get the Mars skin. I really doubt that they're going to do that. That is a canonical character, and giving them a skin that looks like somebody else isn't going to happen. So that doesn't make any sense to me. Also, Justin confirmed no Gaarawarr champion in the game on the last day of insights. Charlations, what do time gates have to do with item levels? Well, if you have all the champions, then all you're getting out of the time gate is chests for that champion, which drops gear, which gives them duplicate items, right? Which gives them item levels. Charlations, what does Briv's wasting haste feat do? That's his 4 jump cap. If as long as you've got his jump ability up to 4, guaranteed 4 areas or higher, it locks him in at 4. This new one locks him in at 9 if you're at 9 or higher. Looking Rider with the last question of the day. What song did you pick to end the show? And we were able to link it somehow to Black Dice Society. Are you still choosing it based on spooky season? And my answer is yes. Yes. Thimble, I don't know the answer to that question. What's the lowest bud needed for the second tier of trials? I have no idea. No one's ever really bothered with that, I don't think. Because the idea with doing your first trial solo and figuring out the number requirements is that you do it by yourself so that you can get 2 achievements that might otherwise not be able to be achieved, which is guaranteed to get the highest contribution, and you're guaranteed to go all 7 days if your DPS is 187. I say just get it to 187, your contribution to 187. That works every time. Every time I do a new player count, I do 187, and we're good. There is a range, but all right, had to cough. But yeah, I don't think people mess with it beyond that, because beyond that, you should be doing it in a group. And usually in the early areas, you just absolutely smoke team out real quick. Okay, this is the last stream of the week on this channel. CNA Game streams should return on Tuesday. However, I stream on my channel. I'm going to put I'm losing my voice. I stream on my channel, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. You can click my name in there if you don't want to type it out and toss me a follow. I'll be live in about an hour. We play a lot of different games over there. Mondays and Wednesdays, I play Idle Champions. It gives in-game pop-ups for that, but I do stream on other days of the week. So come hang out as we play other games. You can always ask Idle Champions questions. It's fine. We're playing a very cozy, casual game called Bear and Breakfast. And it's basically a video game take on Airbnb, and we call it Bear B&B. You're a bear, and you're running an Airbnb service. You're fixing up in your forest. You're fixing up buildings and providing lodging for tourists, and it's been fun. The social commentary has been a very harsh and biting at times. But overall, we're having a great time. So come hang out and chill with us. And obviously, if you have more Idle Champions questions, you can bring them over there. Thank you to all of you for asking questions. Thank you to Sean for grabbing the questions. The song we're going out on today is Drop of Time, which is the song for Strahd von Zarovich, which is both spooky, since he's a vampiric Dark Lord, And Black Die Society themed because he's their big bad evil guy. Enjoy, everybody. Have a good weekend.
I was blind to ever think that you could be the one for me. Now I see. Now I see. Take the light, drain the blood, seal the path, drink the blood. I will take your fate into my hands and fulfill my destiny. Soon you'll see. Soon you'll see. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time. Cursed by love, cursed by you, bound to yearn for a heart untrue. I'm the darkness in your soul, I am the land beneath your feet. Come to me, come to me. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time. Drop of time. Drop of time. As the walls within you roll down my soul, you've been mine. You've been mine. We will reign upon the dead and both be whole. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time. Drop of time.